Welcome to Road Adventures of Cycling Men of Leisure. As usual, I am Adam. A little bit of a different tone in my voice today, but 'tis the season. But I am lucky enough to be joined by my good friend, all the way from Central Time, Kansas, Mr. Michael Sharp.
Thank you very much, Adam. Happy to be here. How you been?
I've been good, but once again, I traveled to Florida, and once again, I got this stuff in my, but we're going to make the best of it.
You know why? You're in Michigan. It's
Yeah.
wintertime. It's
Yeah.
like 4 degrees there right now, and there's a
Right.
half a foot of snow on the ground.
True.
You're flying 2 hours to Orlando, Florida, and getting off, and it was like 75.
Orlando.
This is your body dealing with shock.
This is true. The
That's
shock
all it
when
is.
I even came back. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Whoa, what are you doing?" And ever since I lost 90 pounds, I was really cold when I got
You,
back.
you don't have any of that insulation, do you?
That's right. That's right. So, but how you been?
I've been good. Been busy, but it is the holiday season and kids things and kids programs and holiday parties and whatnot. So,
And Thanksgiving was good.
yes, Thanksgiving was very good. Went down to my sister's family for Thanksgiving. So,
Very nice.
smoked ham for the first time. Now, I'm not a big smoker. I mean, I'm live near Kansas City, but I'm not a big into smoking. But my brother-in-law had gotten this pellet smoker thing,
Okay.
and he had it for like, I don't know, a year maybe. And then he got this really huge, massive smoker. So he's like, I've got this. Would you like it? And I was like, yeah, we'll put it out there. Maybe we'll try it. And I had done brisket one time, so I'm by no means an expert. And then we were supposed to be bringing ham down. He was doing turkey, and he's like, are you smoking it? And it was like, hadn't planned on it, but I thought, well, what the heck? I don't mind getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and started cooking. So I got up, didn't really know what I was doing, but I smoked ham. And I asked everybody. Everybody said it was good, and I said, come on, be honest. Everybody seemed to really enjoy it well. And then I'd also stuck, and I figured while I was smoking, I might as well smoke a little for my mom because, she might like smoked ham too. So I smoked a little ham for her, and guess it turned out pretty good. Everybody tore into it. So that was my big exciting new adventures, smoking ham.
That's cool. Now, do you like to smoke meat? Like, is this something you normally do? I don't know this about you.
No. Actually, other than the brisket that I did a couple months ago, that's the first time I'd really ever done smoked meats and things like that. And of course, living close to Kansas City, it's all about barbecue and smoking and all that kind of thing. But I really hadn't gotten into it. But I thought, you know what, I might as well give this a try. Other than you have to really plan out for the time. It's not really time consuming. You just have to, start really early, occasionally add your wood, do a little basting, all that kind of stuff throughout the process. So it's not really time consuming. You just have to prepare for a long period. So it's like if I was saying, I'm going to go eat dinner at 5, you can't start at 4 o'clock because that's not going to work. But no, it was a good time. I've kind of enjoyed experimenting with it.
Now, would that be something that you would like to do? Like, did it make you want to go out and get one of those automatic pellet feeder stoves that keep it at 275 or whatever?
That's what I have right now.
Oh, you do?
It's a pellet stove. It's electric. It keeps a consistent thing. I think what you're wanting to know is, would I ever want to go out and get like one of the big ones with the firebox to do like live fire and try to maintain the heat and stuff? Not at this point.
Gotcha.
I mean, I enjoy it, but it's not like, oh man, I can't wait. And maybe I can have a smoking team and cycling men of leisure smoking barbecue team or something. No, I'm not to that point.
In a rare occurrence, I actually wasn't being selfish. I was wondering if it's something you would do as a hobby or whatever. We just don't eat enough meat in this house I'm not a vegetarian, but we just don't eat a lot of meat. I don't buy steaks on the regular or something like that. So I'll never forget when one of the first times I visited your house, your wife said, out of nowhere, she said, "Adam, do you smoke meat?" And I remember saying, "Well, that's pretty damn personal."
Well,
And then I realized that I know that like every time I go to Costco, well, not every time, but during like the fall at Costco, they got the guys out there with the pellet stoves and
Yeah.
I have stopped and talked to him and asked him like, oh, how does it work? And he's like, well, this feeds it automatically and this keeps it at this temperature. And that's why I was curious, since you had
Yeah.
time.
Being up here, because everybody around here is so hardcore into the smoking thing, they kind of look at like pellet smoking as kind of like, well, you're not really smoking meat. But you know what? I'm okay. I'm not going to start a barbecue team. I'm just doing it in my backyard for Sunday dinner or whatever. So I'm good with it. But it's interesting. It's very much like distilling liquor. There's this lengthy process. You
Yeah.
got to follow the steps, and there's different points throughout that process where you can um, insert different things to affect the outcome. Like you can put different glazes on it or seasonings, or you can use this different kind of wood. So it's very much like distilling.
So before the whole smoking meat was so popular, I did it back in the day with the Weber grill. And what we would do is you would take
Mm.
racks of ribs, and then different induction heating where you put the coals like on each side. So then
Mm-hmm.
you were getting like the vortex but that was a lot more difficult because you didn't want ribs were expensive and you didn't want them to burn. And so then technology was amazing because then you could put the thermometer, wireless thermometer in there, and you could watch it. If you wanted to sit down on the deck for a little bit, but you're always constant. It was nothing like a machine keeping it at a certain temperature. That would have
Yeah.
been convenient. But I used to enjoy doing that, and then I just kind of got out of it. But that's cool, man. So mom's good, family's good.
Mom's good, family's good. So yeah, getting ready for Christmas.
So yeah, we went to California Grill at the top of the Contemporary. That was my Thanksgiving dinner, and then once I whipped out the credit card, and then let's be honest, I use gift cards, but I use the gift cards because you can get the gift cards cheaper, and then buy it with my credit card. But once I paid the bill, they took care of the cleanup, and we had a good night. So a little bit strange to travel during Thanksgiving. I'd never been down there for
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving. I've been there for Christmas and New Year's, but never been there for Thanksgiving. Day before Thanksgiving, park was perfectly fine. Thanksgiving Day, park was perfectly fine. We did Animal Kingdom
Okay.
on Thanksgiving, and then California Grill for dinner. The population, the capacity of the park was nothing crazy. Black Friday and Saturday, yeah, I'm just spoiled to go at different crowd sizes, and that was just like get me out of there. I was ready to be. It's just too. I mean, you can't even walk in the park, and that's just not fun. So, but
Where'd you stay at?
Bay Lake Tower.
Okay.
So we've mentioned on this show many times. You and I both own a timeshare there. So, um, I had never stayed at Bay Lake that length of time. We were there from Tuesday to Sunday. Pros and cons. Like I'm so used to staying at Saratoga Springs. So if I want to jump on the freeway and go to Universal Studios, you're already right there by I-4 and you just go. Contemporary, it's by Magic Kingdom, and then you got to go
It's
out of Magic
it's
Kingdom.
deeper into the
Yep.
the
So
infrastructure.
we would take a lift to go to Universal, and I would look at the lift prices, and I thought, gosh, are these prices like surging because of Thanksgiving? And no, it was just more miles. And then there were certain toll bridges that I didn't realize that even though you don't see a toll, even though you don't see any kind of toll booth, the on the lift receipt they were hitting me with these tolls. So definitely,
It's all electronic out there, man.
yeah, little bit of education, and every time I go, I learn something, so I can. If this show doesn't work with all the equipment, then I will have a Disney podcast. Just kidding. There's hundreds, and I'm okay. So, but
That's cool.
um,
I hope you got everything arranged because I'm headed down there in 20 some days. So
yeah, yeah, buddy. Everything is good.
okay,
Everything's nice.
told them to make sure they treat me right, all that kind of thing.
Listen, I mean, a friend of mine and me and Mickey, and we go way back. So, yeah, ever since October 1971, they've been there. So I got it all set up for you.
Excellent, appreciate that.
So, getting on with the show. Um, we have heard a lot from our leisure community. So, for those of you who don't know, we decided to have a name for the individuals, audience members who interact with us in one way or the other, and so we have deemed that our leisure community, and we love you all. Um, you and I decided because of Thanksgiving that we were going to record one show, and then literally the next day we recorded again to buy us both some family
It
time.
had nothing to do with Thanksgiving.
It had my Florida trip.
It had to do with you going to Mickey Mouse Land.
When you're going to smoke that meat. So, hey, buddy, listen, I am, so, with doing that, we have a very popular segment in the show, Listener Spotlight, and we didn't give a lot of people a lot of time to guess. And so I want to go backwards just a little bit. And what I mean by backwards is we had some people who made some guesses on the answers that we already gave, but I want to give those people due diligence. So
Absolutely.
our friend Armando wrote us, and he said I'd like to submit a guess. He has an encounter with the cars, and we'll get there. But he said I'd also like to submit my guess for listener spotlight, and he says that the answer was Sacramento, California, and that's absolutely 100% correct. Um, but then you said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "I am very sure." He answered in our private texting group that he was very sure, and it turns out yes, he was. So,
But I wouldn't tell him what the answer was, though,
no,
until the show came out.
no. But and then we have another one, which is a little bit of a longer answer, but we always appreciate our good friend Stephen Witz, friend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Hi guys, so enjoy the show. Love the podcast, and your interview with Maria was perfect. Looking forward to the Christmas wish list." Now, of course, we've already put that out. We'll put a link down below for the Christmas wish list show. He says, "Debrim aren't paying you enough, Adam,"
No,
and
they're
that
not.
they're not paying me at all. They gave me a T-shirt and some notepads and a pen. So, although your wife said if I buy a new Debrim, she wants the box, so because I think she's going to pull a fast one on you. So I love it. But he says, hoping to join you for brag and listen. We are very confident that we already have the 10. For those of you who don't know, if you have 10 or more, when you sign up for a team, you are able to get a jersey. And so we're based upon people that have written us behind the scenes. We think that we've already surpassed the 10. So, Stephen,
We've already got at least 6 confirmed. There's been a lot of other people that said, yeah, we're doing it. But I think we've got at least 6 people have told us they have registered. So
and you
easily
want to
get 10.
register before New Year's to get there's a little bit of a discount. So if you know
That's
you're
right.
going to go anyway, then don't leave money on the table, as they say. But Steven says hope to join you for brag, and Steven, I would love to have you with us for brag.
Absolutely.
He says from near Toronto and trying to sell a little house. Hopefully we get a couple of rate cuts. And forgive me, I'm not familiar with the Canada real estate, so hopefully he gets the rate cuts that he's wanting. He says he loves the section of the podcast, but recently only been able to hazard a guess based on 3 or 4 clues. Now, let me stop there before I go on. Do you want to take this?
About the clues thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last episode, we've in a couple episodes ago, we've had people call or, write us and talk to us about how difficult it is. And I've often talked about, it's not like the, old days where you could just do that unless you got encyclopedias or you're in a library, you could do the research. Nowadays, it's so easy just to look up stuff. So I've tried to make it a little bit more difficult so people can't just go, oh, what? This town hosts the largest ball of twine. Well, where is that at? Boom, I know what it is. So I've deliberately made them more difficult because the internet is at our access. But I've heard a couple people say this, and last time I got really concerned because I was like, oh man, am I making these things too hard? Well, I'm not a mathematician, but I did go back and research And it looks like we're getting about 20% accuracy on people guessing. And so I felt better because I was thinking, oh man, if we got like 5 or 6% or something. But no, of all of them that we've had 20% guess correctly. So I didn't think that was bad. That was way better than I thought it was. And the beautiful thing about it is that's all been like different people,
Yeah.
pretty much. So they are not impossible. I now feel better. We're at a solid 20% accuracy on people guessing these. So I'm going to leave it at that. Now, this last episode, I did go out and on a couple days before, well, a couple days ago, I did put an additional hint out there for helping people. I pretty much maybe handed it to a lot of people, but we'll see.
What's my record? 0.0.
Yeah, if we're going to go off of Adam's success record, I'm going to need to make these. Okay, let's be honest. I'm going to have to dumb these things down a long ways.
Oh my gosh. Where's
no
this?
Disrespect.
Okay. Anyways,
just a figure of speech. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not St. Louis. Just kidding. So
one of these days.
Going back to Steven's guest that came in right after we recorded. He said this week's spotlight he has some Bushmill 16. He always mentions sometimes he's got a special whiskey, so I love it. He's got a Bushmill 16-year-old whiskey on standby.
Maybe that hampers him from being able to guess.
I don't know.
Depending on how much of that Bushmill he's going to drink.
But he says guess is Sacramento, California, so he hit it out of the park. Now, I'm going to buzz through these real quick here. He says, here's the reasons why he thought it was Sacramento. It was settled by John Sutter, a Swiss citizen. Other Swiss settlers in the 1830s. The settlement was called New Helvetia. Helvetia means Switzerland. By the way, Helvetica is a font designed by a Swiss person. Around 1850, the city was incorporated with a... Hold on one second. I lost my place. Dang it. 1850, the city was incorporated with the name Sacramento, Sacrament in Spanish, named after the river. Sacramento is the oldest incorporated city in the state of California and the state capital. Gold was discovered by the settler gold rush, happened around 1848, and was definitely the biggest industry at the time. A transcontinental telegraph was finished in 1861 with the western terminus ending in Sacramento. There was a separate telegraph connecting San Francisco shortly thereafter. The Pony Express closed, as the telegraph was the new form of communication. Dogs and birds, not 100% sure about this. There is a new California law preventing the use of anticoagulants, stuff that warfarin on rats, as a disposal mechanism. I think it has been found in the blood thinners. Don't dissipate and adversely affecting larger predators like mountain lions. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. So,
thank you.
So definitely thank you. So that was two guesses.
Yeah.
So Sacramento, and then of course we had another guess, which was only like 50 miles from Sacramento, and you gave credit.
We give credit. I mean, because it's so it was so close. It was less than 50
Matt.
miles.
You call him Mark, but that's okay. Yeah. Matt, Mark, whatever. Just pay him.
Hey, we got the M name right, or the M right, so okay.
So wanted to give both of those people credit, and so and why don't we jump into this week's listener spotlight? Well, we had some communications, but no real actual guess. I mean, there's some stuff here. Stephen wrote me, but it doesn't actually have an answer. It just says Canadian money is where his mouth is. He's alluding that he thinks what you're going to say is somewhere in Canada.
Okay. Is it? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You have no idea.
I really don't.
Our guess or our answer for this week's listener spotlight is in Canada. The other guess, the other hint that I gave you, I think I made mention that I did send out another hint on our Facebook page, was a picture of the album cover of The Great White North from the 80s. Remember that song?
Yes.
Take Off to the Great White North. Doug and Bob McKenzie, and which was actually played by like Rick Moranis and Dave Johnson, I believe. A fictitious thing, but it was all about Canada and that kind of thing. And it has the Great White North, which is the unofficial name of Canada. This week's was Burlington, Ontario.
Ah.
And the reason why I picked that album cover is not just because they're Canadian and it said the Great White North to tell you that it was Canada, but both of the people in there, Dave and Rick, are from Ontario. And more importantly, the person singing, which you may or may not know this, the really high part, Take Off, is sang by Geddy Lee.
Oh, I remember old Geddy.
Lead singer of Rush, which is one of my personal favorites. Greatest drummer ever, Neil Peart, rest his soul. But no, he's on there, and he was also from Ontario. So I was giving a lot of hints around the Ontario thing, but the land was purchased from the British, from the native people. Every year they have Mohawk Chief Joseph Bryant was granted this tract of land, and they celebrate him every year as the founder of the city. It was incorporated in 1914. The town Burlington is actually named after a local bay. And this last one, which I'm sure would have hung some people up, in this town, you need to watch where you park. If you don't, you might end up asking, what's up? They have a hill there, like one of those mystery hills, that if you park, your car literally looks like it's rolling uphill. It's all like, optical illusion and that type of thing, but it's called Kings Road. And so if you park there, your car might look like it's rolling uphill.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So there you go.
So Burlington, Ontario.
Yes, sir. So thank you to our listeners in Burlington, Ontario. I would also like to say welcome to our listeners from Belgium.
Yes.
And Kenya.
Really?
Picked up 2 countries. Yep.
Remember
back in the day when we started this whole thing, I think the very first, maybe the second, I think it was the first podcast, we were talking about, we decided to do this. And I said I had one goal in this podcast. It's like, I just want to get one listener from Africa and I will be happy. Of course, 4 weeks later, we had a listener from Africa, but there you go. A little Rush, Tom Sawyer.
It's for you, buddy.
It's a great band, man. Neil Peart was just like the greatest drummer ever.
I agree.
There you go.
Now, I have to cut that out because we put the show on YouTube. I just wanted to play a small clip. So, I wasn't ignoring you. I was trying to get it connected.
That's okay. Ignore me all the time. I'm used to that.
Oh, BS. So,
two other things I wanted to do real quick.
Yes, sir.
I told you I had a couple little things I wanted to slip in. I just wanted to mention a couple birthdays. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, December 5th, birthday of someone I know that you never knew, but definitely love what he did, Walt Disney.
Well, hold on. Before I go, I knew that. I belong to multiple Facebook pages, and I kept seeing that over.
Oh yeah, he's a Disney nut job. I say that with all respect, but yeah, because you're the guy I come to, and I'm like, what is this all about? Have you eaten at this restaurant? I mean, you're like my personal Disney guide. When I or my family need to know something about Disney or how to operate or work something at Disney and make things happen, I just call you, or my wife calls you sometimes or texts you and like, what is this all about?
So you said that you were going there for your trip.
Mm-hmm.
I remember calling you saying, you got to do this at this time. You got to get on at 5 a.m. You got to call this. You got to do that. And the next day I text you. I said, how'd it go? You're like, it worked out great. And I got off the phone. I was like, "You have no idea how that's going to work out until you get there. Then you're going to be like, Adam is the cat's meow." So,
Well, it's funny because I'll say something that's like, oh, yeah, I think this is how we do it. Or I'll say, this is how you do it. I did my research. I found out. She's like, do I need to call Adam?
it's taken a long time, and Disney does a great job of trying to change it up all the time, so people don't learn it like I do. But then, and I'm not alone. There's all kinds of.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing is when you go there, the people are like, "Well, I know the way to do it." You got to be quiet about it. You don't advertise it because then
Because
everyone
then everybody knows the secrets
exactly.
and everybody's going to be doing it.
Exactly. I'm like, even Lauren, God bless her, but she'll be like, "Don't we go over there to that turnstile there?" I'm like, "Would you be quiet?" So
Don't give away you know what? You can give away information.
yeah,
Just give them kind of the okay information.
yeah.
It's like being like a double spy somewhere. You give the other side just a little bit of stuff that's like somewhat good, but not really. And,
One of my favorite things is when we get back. Probably not this time. There wasn't enough time there, but when we get back and everyone's like, "Well, aren't you frustrated that you waited in line?" And I'm like, "Waited in line. The only time I had to wait in line was for a restroom." Yeah.
for a restroom.
I said, if you're waiting in line too long, you're doing it wrong. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, cool.
no, I'm excited for you guys' trip. So,
And then
your second birthday?
my second birthday is let us celebrate and wish Smokey the Bear a happy 80th birthday. That's right. Smokey the Bear, ladies and gentlemen, that which is the longest running public service character ever created in the United States history. Been around for 80 years and quite interesting. I have a little fact I'm going to share with you. His image is controlled by the Forest Service or whatever. They've got the copyrights and own that and all that. But they have actually allowed one school in this country to use Smokey the Bear as its official, what do you call him?
Mascot.
Mascot. Thank you. As his official mascot. I don't remember what year it is, but there is a small town called Hill City, South Dakota. It's right over there next to the Black Hills. And apparently there's a big forest fire going on, and a bunch of the guys from the high school basketball team went out and helped the Forestry Service fight this forest fire. And as a thank you, the Forest Department still allows them to use Smokey Bear as their official school mascot. So how cool would that be to go, you know what? Our mascot is Smokey the Bear. So
have you ever
only you can prevent forest fires?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Have you ever heard about that weird phenomenon? Like what if I asked you, what does Smokey Bear say? Only you can prevent forest fires. But if you search on Google, you can't find an image with him saying that. It's just really weird.
Oh yeah, there's just always there's an image of like him holding a shovel or him doing this or that, but yeah, there's never one that's like, yeah.
They got a name for that, and I wish I could say what it is, but it's like I don't know, like Luminata, whatever. It's like you think things, you think an advertisement had something, but it really never did. It's in your mind. And so we, as children and as scouts, heard him grow up and said, I mean, we grew up with him saying only you can prevent forest fires. But what's really weird is you can't find that anywhere. So,
but you know what? They started out, I mean, obviously 80 years ago, and it started out as a big ad campaign. So, I mean, I think most of the images that I have of him is in print. Gotcha. It was in Boys Life magazine and all these other things. And you'd go and travel to different states, and it'd be on the back of travel booklets and brochures and stuff. But at the bottom, I can always remember seeing only you can prevent forest fires. And then I would see the little logo of the Forestry Service. So, yeah. So there we go. A couple of birthdays and a little interesting trivia to impress your friends, or not impress your friends, whatever.
Well, listen, I try to impress my friends. I try to impress you, so it's still not working, but it's all right.
I'm impressed. The new bottle you acquired last week impressed me very much. So,
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes. There, it's actually in the picture right now above the word R and O in my microphone stand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
There you go. Very nice.
all right. We now have another episode of, oh man, Encounters with Cars. So our good friend Armando wrote us. Excuse me, Armando.
Armando.
He wrote us and said that he's got an encounter with car story just north of his house. About 2 miles, there's a rural area with a road that's about 7 miles long with a nice shoulder. After work one evening, he said, I figured I could get 20 miles in before the sun went down. Combination of being rural, straight, and an adequate shoulder makes it for a really nice ride. So I'm going happily along when I heard a pickup truck come up behind me. I heard a scream, kind of like a pirate's "arr." Immediately followed by a sharp pain in my back. I
Uh-oh.
noticed a beer can tumbling in the air in front of me. The guy in the passenger lane had thrown what I think was a mostly full can of natural light at me. A few seconds it took me to regain my senses. The truck had sped away, and I couldn't get a license plate number, but I had a black and blue mark. He says, "I'll send you a picture," and he did, and it
No, he
was a
didn't.
pretty decent,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was
bruise.
a good sized bruise, but I don't think that's very good advertisement when you've got a bunch of good old boys figuring that it's better to throw the mostly full can of Natty Light at a cyclist rather than drink it. Probably not saying much for what's in the can. So,
I have a
no
natural.
offense to anybody who drinks Natty Light, but
He mean the college kids that may not be listening to us right now.
yeah, exactly.
So when I was still driving the bus, um, for those of you who don't know, I drove the bus and now I run the place. But putting myself through my bachelor's and my master's, I was still driving, and they were putting in this new Speedway gas station, and it said on a big sign that says, "We will now carry beer." And they were remodeling it, and so this says, "We will now carry beer," and they had two signs. It had a Bud Light and a Natural Light. And one of my passengers said, I thought they said they were going to carry beer.
Yeah.
I just thought that was so funny.
We're not carrying good beer. We're just carrying beer. Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yes. Now we've just shown to the world that we are, in fact, beer snobs. So there you
That's
go.
right. Well, listen, I mean, as you get a little older, your taste buds.
You know, you get a little older, you get a little more coin in your pocket. You can, move up the beverage ladder.
That is the ultimate
Hence,
dream.
looking behind you. Yes. So,
I have an announcement.
uh-oh.
No, this is good. This is a wonderful.
You're getting a new co-host. Wow.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything right now, but no.
We are recording this on a Friday, so, it is.
We have a new monthly sponsor. Dennis Keeler has decided that he needed to help us be a monthly financial sponsor. And Dennis, we want to just take our opportunity and thank you. We now have 3 monthly
Thank you,
sponsors.
Dennis.
We have Dennis, who's our newest, our original OG sponsor, our wonderful friend, and Scott and Alex as well. And so, gentlemen, thank you so very much. So appreciate all that. That helps us kick the can down the road, so to speak.
So you're responsible for keeping this on the air.
Yeah. If none of you like the show,
Good or bad, yeah.
please contact Dennis, Scott, or Alex.
That's right.
No, just want to say thank you so very much. That's really, really awesome.
Definitely.
If you're looking to be a sponsor, you can go to a couple different places. You can go to our Buzzsprout website and you can follow the show link there, or you can go to our webpage and you can do it through PayPal. So we appreciate everybody. We've also had many people make some pretty considerable donations, and we thank you for that. So
absolutely.
You've got something about Mr. Gates.
Yes. I'm glad you reminded me. Last week I went to this really interesting. I don't normally do these things, but down at our big Kauffman
You
Center,
went
which
to
is our
Taylor
big
Swift. No, just kidding.
different story,
Okay.
but we'll talk about my experiences with Taylor Swift at some other time. But I do have one. Down at our big performing arts thing in downtown Kansas City, there's a Kauffman Center, and they put on, everything from, opera and dance to, speakers and that kind of thing. I had the unique experience of getting the opportunity to listen to Josh Gates. And I know the only reason, because you're not a TV guy,
Not
but
at
I
all.
am.
Yeah.
I'm
To
the
the
guy that,
point. To the
what's it?
point. To the point, ladies and gentlemen. When Michael and I share hotel rooms, literally, I would be willing to bet within 180 seconds of us getting in that room, that TV is on.
Totally agree. It is. That's the first thing I do. And it's not so much what I'm watching, it's just the noise.
I gotcha.
I like the noise. And so generally I'll turn it on. And this is how you got your exposure to it, because I know you don't watch the shows. But Josh Gates has been on TV for a long time. He has been in shows like Destination Truth, Expedition X, Expedition Unknown. He's got a new one coming out. He's been doing it through like the Discovery Channel and the Travel Channel. And I know I've made Adam like listen to it, if not watch it occasionally. But I had the opportunity to go to a event that he was putting on where he talked about some of the events that some of the mysteries that he had looked into and answered questions and all this type of thing. And what was really cool is I went ahead and I bought the full package, the VIP experience. So not only was I, second row from the stage, we actually had a meet and greet with him. So I actually got to meet Josh Gates, as much as you get to meet somebody on a meet and greet, shake his hand, signed a picture, signed some other things for us. And then, we took a picture with him. But I bring this up because, number one, if you're anywhere where Josh Gates is coming to talk about his adventures, I would highly suggest going. Even if you don't really know who Josh Gates is, it would be something that would be truly fun and interesting. And it was a great night. You don't have to be a super fan or know anything about his shows, because he tells these great stories about everything from hunting cryptids to, looking for sunken treasure off the coast of, South Dakota or South Carolina or whatever. But I would suggest look it up, because I know he's touring the country. And if you have the opportunity, definitely do that. I would suggest the VIP experience, because it was really cool to get to talk to him for a few minutes. He's a very down to earth. I mean, pretty much what you see on film is him. At least that's how he seemed. But the thing that I liked is he had one slide where he was talking, or he had, video going up there occasionally. And he had one thing come up and he was talking about, the next thing I need you guys to do, because he was talking about adventuring, is he goes, I need you, how did he put it? Get out. And just flashed up on the screen. It's like, I need you to get out. And I was like, okay. And then 2 seconds later, it said often. And he was talking about how, you don't have to be on his TV show to have this big adventure, and that it really starts with just each one of us as individuals getting out there. And it might not be going to some foreign country searching for a cryptid or treasure or anything like that, but it's just get out and explore the world around you, whether it be your local town or, we all live in towns and cities that have things that we like. Well, I've been here for 15 years and I've never, the World War I Museum in Kansas City. I've lived in Kansas City for 15 years or so. Never been there. Been by it, been across the street to the station. But my point is, he has that really kind of leisure attitude that we try to promote. And I thought it was very interesting. And then it's like, just get out there. Doesn't matter where you're going. Get out there, explore. There's always new things to see, new people to talk to. And there's always adventure. And that adventure doesn't necessarily have to come with some plane ticket overseas or something like that. So it was a great message and a great time.
Just real quick, I know who the gentleman Josh Gates is, but if I'm at home listening, or if I'm watching us on YouTube and I have no idea who Josh Gates is, what channel would I catch him on?
You can catch him on the Discovery Channel. I think he's on now. And if you don't know who he is and you're watching us on YouTube, there is the picture of him.
Cool.
He said, Michael, adventure on. And that is what I will do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that. And you and I try to get different adventures going all the time. So,
so in my heart, Josh Gates is an honorary cycling man of leisure.
Well, in that case, cocktail to you, sir. So,
right here.
All right. Well, I think that leads us moving right along. I think that leads us to, ladies and gentlemen, we'll close the show out with Listener Spotlight.
All right. Here is our clues for this this episode's Listener Spotlight. The town was founded in the 1870s. It is named for a local Native American village and also a river. It was built at its location due to the railroad. Mills became a big part of this town's economy and remained a big part of this town's economy for over 70 years. The town is surrounded by several lakes. Early in this town's, the first 40 years of this town, it suffered from like 3 major fires. So, I mean, they were just burning this town down like a lot in those first 40 years. So, and this town's main drag did not get its name from a stand-up routine, but it could have. And what I will try to do is in a few days, I will try to drop another little extra hint on our website to help you out. So
this show is going to come out on December 8th. So you're saying maybe by like the 11th or 12th, maybe you might.
Yes. Okay. I will shoot for the 11th or 12th to have another guest out on our website, on our Facebook site.
Okay.
So that'll help a little bit. And I will tell you, I'll give you another hint right now.
Okay.
It is not in Canada, and it is not St. Louis. There you go.
Well, I'm out.
I lowered the parameters a little, not much. I appreciate that. But I eliminated Canada. You don't do the same foreign country two episodes in a row. That's just not good form. So,
no. Otherwise, you got to get more loonies, more toonies. Oh wait, just kidding. But
we already got enough of that here. So,
well, listen, I can look in a mirror and find a loony. But I found a little clip that I sent you about, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, and I'm gonna mention it. This is from Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was giving a little bit of a speech, I think, for an award, and he said, "What is more important, the journey or the destination?" And he was reading a passage from somebody, and he says, "What is more important, the journey or the destination?" And he said, "It's the company," and I couldn't agree more with that. So
here.
With that being said, in Michigan today was not a great day, but somewhere I am sure
today was in fact a great day here in Kansas for a bike ride. Yes. I mean, it wasn't like, it was like 50 some degrees.
Yeah. That'd be a good day.
Yeah.
A good day for a bike ride. We'll end on that.
Good day for a bike ride.